time for a music review. This is my first single album review for some time. And in fact, this year, I think I'm going to go back to doing more of these instead of chasing views. A bit of advice from the vinyl scavenger and this idea of trying to get views for the sake of it, I think is a bit of a waste of time. And so, anyway, the album I'm going to review this morning is Mighty Like a Rose, which was released in 1991. It's the 13th studio album by the British rock singer and songwriter Elvis Costello. It was released on compact disc. The title presumably was a reference to Mighty Like a Rose, a pop standard, although that song doesn't appear on this album. But the words were quoted in a reissue booklet that I haven't seen. Anyway, a little bit more background. I'm not going right back to 1978 when Costello launched himself on the back of the punk movement with his debut album, My Aim Is True. But so we'll be here all night otherwise. But he wanted to release this album under his birth name, Declan McManus. He was getting a bit tired of this pseudonym, Elvis Costello. But unfortunately, the record company got their way and it was released as an Elvis Costello record. The album Mighty Like a Rose continued very much in the same sort of spirit of Costello's previous album, Spike, also reviewed on this channel, by the way. That came out in 1989. But he did replace the producer, going with Mitchell Fromm. His previous producer had been T-Bone Burnett. There's also another couple of songs collaborating with Paul McCartney, Playboy to a Man, and So Like Candy. I'm going to refer to some of Elvis's comments on this album because there are a few of them around. And he referred to the album as his angry record. It was at the aftermath of the Gulf War, and the opening track, The Other Side of Summer, was very much a sort of Beach Boys pastiche after their 70s style. And the album also features a song, Broken, which is a song written by his wife, Kate O'Riordan. And the album's dedicated to her. I'm not quite sure of the details, whether they broke up or whatever. But anyway, there's a studio ensemble, including heavy hitters like T-Bone Walk, Larry Netchnell, Ben Montanch from the Heartbreakers, Jerry Sheaf, James Burton, of course, associated with Elvis Presley. And he dragged along Pete Thomas as well. And he had no problem really conjuring up that colourful sound that's very distinctive. I'm going to go through the track list now, and the first couple are going to be extensive with readings of the lyrics. I hope you bear with me, but I think they're absolutely vital to the enjoyment and the appreciation of what I consider to be a very, very high quality LP. Then The Other Side of Summer. Got a very summery Beach Boy feel about it. A bit sugary in places, but it's absolutely delightful. In the lyric, which I'm going to focus on now, Elvis pinpoints the folly at seeing summer optimistically, a time for positive thinking. And he throws together a series of images of life's hardship. The chorus illustrates presenting iconic images in a sinister light. Here's an example from the foaming breakers of the poisonous surf, The Other Side of Summer, to the burning forest in the hills of AstroTurf. The Other Side of Summer. Costello's cast of characters in this lyric include a drug-addled pop star, an insecure teenager, and a madman accosting all passers-by. There's also references to one John Lennon and Roger Waters in indirect methods, and more of that a little later. And they get their stuffing taken out of them by Costello as he perceives them as hypocritical songwriters with references to Imagine and Another Brick in the Wall, describing, was it a millionaire who said, imagine no possessions? And then a poor little schoolboy who said, we don't need no lessons. Very, very cutting. In the closing lines, he puts together an impressive, ugly litany of characters and calamities that pile up the heat. The casual killers, the military curfew, the cardboard city, an unwanted birthday. And he ends on a very doom-like note. Good night, good bless, and kiss goodbye to the earth, the other side of summer. But the thing about it is, it's irresistibly catchy, albeit in a very morose kind of way. And of course the words are a catalogue of what he does best: pop conceits, deceits, hypocrisies, and delusions. And now I'm going to get into that lyric, and you will see the lyric sheet alongside my delivery. Side of Summer, verse 1, the sun struggles up, another beautiful day, and I felt glad in my own suspicious way. Yeah, despite the contradictions and confusion, felt tragic without reason. There's malice and there's magic in every season. The chorus, from the foaming breakers of the poisonous surf, the other side of summer, to the burning forest in the hill of astroturf, the other side of summer. The first bridge, the automatic gates close up between the shanties and the palace, the blowtorch amusements, the voodoo chalice, the pale pathetic promises that everybody swallows. The teenage girl is crying because she don't look like $1 million. So help me if you can, because she don't seem to have the attention span. Chorus, from the foaming breakers of the poisonous surf. Bridge 2. Was it a millionaire who said, imagine no possessions? A poor little schoolboy who said, we don't need no lessons. The rabid dogs ransack the shampoo shop. The pop princess is downtown shooting up. And if that goddess is fit for burning, the sun will struggle up, and the world will still keep turning. Now to the second verse. And I'm just getting it into line because I haven't memorised this. Madam standing by the side of the road saying, Madman standing by the side of the road saying, look at my eyes, look at my eyes, look at my eyes. Yeah. Now, you can't afford to fake all the drugs your parents used to take. Because of their mistakes, you'd better be wide awake. Then the chorus again. The mightiest rose, the absence of perfume, the casual killers, the military curfew, the other side of summer, the cardboard city and the unwanted birthday, the other side of summer. The dancing was desperate, the music was worse. They bury your dreams and dig up the worthless. Good night, good bless, God bless, and kiss goodbye to the earth, the other side of summer. Well, sorry about that, but it is, I think, an absolute classic, this, in terms of encapsulating what Costello is about. He's a very political animal, as we know, and he had lots to say about what was going on, and I'm very pleased he did. So anyway, that's the first track done and dusted. Then Hurry Down Doomsdale, the Buds are taking over. This is a bruising post-punk left-wing rant with some twisted rhythm chords and booming bass. It's harsh, it's got a semi-industrial groove to the tune, and Elvis explained the song in his liner notes. He said it was written for the days when the mortal sins of the advertising world and the venal sins of the trash culture became unbearable, when the news fixates morbidly on the sentimental appeals of the parents of a missing child, only for it to be revealed that they are the ones who committed the crime. Small wonder that this song invites the end of the world. Elvis then goes on to talk about the song's composition. It was a series of drum and timed percussion loops assembled in advance by Jim Keltner, a method to which I would return, he said, on the album When I Was Cruel. This cut also features two of my favourite instrumental cameo appearances: Nick Lowe's thumping bass entrance in the third verse and a dazzling James Burton guitar solo that's right on the edge of impossible. On to track 3 now, How to Be Dumb. A great melody skewers lovely guitar runs into a great chorus, which is joined at the hip by Steve Niev's piano runs. A touch too long, this one, but the piano Wurlitzer stinks of rock and roll. Elvis takes us through the pretentiousness of our roles in life and how we play dumb to society's abuse and lies. Hero worship, aka rock stars. It's almost a call to action, certainly politically charged. It's also a bit of a memoir of life on the road. And here's an extract from verse 2. They emptied out all the asylums, they emptied out all the jails. The New Bruise was the name of a dance craze by Jesus Cross and the Cruel Nails, followed up by Torturing Little Beaver. With their contraption of barbed wire between the fear and the fever lies all the rejection they require. They'll be howling by midnight, they'll be drooling by dawn, skulls shrunk down to the size of their brains, heads shaven and shorn. Well, good job I'm not a religious fanatic. All Grown Up is next. The strings slow us right down. It's got a melancholic look at lost childhood. The ELO-styled strings loom over the full orchestral sound. Elvis touches on the harsh reality of moving into adulthood, away from adolescence, and looking back to try and understand childhood. The lyric takes a visceral look at adolescent rebellion and the energy to get stuck in, but beware of a vulnerability, a lack of experience, and innocence. But don't forget that vicious tongue. Okay, next up, Invasion Hit Parade. It's complexly layered, this song, very horn dominated, certainly got an R&B feel to it, and there's a lot going on here. There's a bit of jazz improvisation and Beatles guitar layers, and there's a nod in that to Pepper, perhaps, in its busyness. Costello reveals the meaning of the song in his notes again, and I'm going to take a look at them. A fantasy about a decent man, he says, who had been working in the resistance of a recently liberated country, only to find that his new role is to be patronised and force-fed consumer goods and pop anthems. He must assume a posture of supplication and gratitude, while triumphal forces of the free world hijack his revolution in the pursuit of better TV ratings. These images may well reflect post-Stasi world of East Germany, Czechoslovakia perhaps, and the Panamerian invasion might have been assembled while surfing the news channels any day at the turn of the decade. Costello also details the song compositions. And this is a quote, "The music uses a deliberately unsettling piano theme that threatens to turn into something grand, a sequence of guitar chords that don't seem to want to follow each other, and his father, Ross McManus, playing a sort of Iberian trumpet fanfare before taking off into some free blowing over the tag. The effect was somewhat like having interference between two adjacent radio stations on the dial." Well, that may be the case for Elvis, but I thought it was exquisite. And that's track 5, Invasion Hit Parade. It's bizarre then. There's some impressive piano combined here with the medieval mood. Costello's vocals are impassioned. Some intelligent woodwinds, clarinet particularly, Again, referencing Costello's comment, a naive Eastern European girl being picked up by a man in the world. She's working as a hostess at an embassy ball. She might stand for the courtship of her country. I never told anyone what was in my mind when writing it means that the song has to work regardless of where you understand the scene to be located. He then goes on to talk about the instrumentation. Costello says that it includes a woodwind group arranged by Theatre Trench from my original material. I'd become interested in the wind arrangements of famous melodies from the 1790s, and I'd read that it was the only way ordinary people could hear of court entertainments in these days. Popular music isn't always so ubiquitous. This sparked the idea of the central interlude. It seemed to suit the scene I was hoping to get. There we are. It's track 7. It's a sad tale of progress and destructions in relationships. There's a Spanish guitar that bleeds, wonderful vocals by Costello. Lyrically, it's about the sad reality of failing to turn the clock back to that magical period in a relationship. And here's a brief extract. You've changed, but not for the better, babe. I'd tell you why, but what's the use? Because it's the same kind of pity. A drunken given at his... You were sharp and ideal as a hot bobby pin. Now your eyes are deserted and quiet. We both look like these poor shattered mannequins thrown through the windows in the... So to track 8, Georgiana Arrival, and Steve Ney drives this rimmon. It's almost funfair-like with a jocular beat. It's a tale of being discarded by your lover who then is ridiculed by a new love, and the old girlfriend finally gains redemption via using speakerphone to escape from hiding and feel okay again. And so too one of the collaborations with Macca, So Like Candy. I really love this song, a powerful ballad, and the mellotron and bass lines courtesy of that man, Sir Paul McCartney. It's a bit of a Beatles tribute, to be sure. Lyrically, it's about a lost love, a bit of a metaphor for losing, the Fab Four perhaps, the joy, the excitement, the roar of adrenaline, and then it's all been lost. Then we've got an instrumental called Interlude, couldn't call it Unexpected number 2. It's a bit of a military march, and then it segues into a real rock and roll bash, and we'll get onto that in a second. Playboy Into a Man, the second collaboration with Paul McCartney. It's got a frenetic fairground roar to it. That rock and roll rhythm opens the song. Elvis's vocals wrap round nerves piano. It's a real helter-skelter chorus, Jerry Lee Lewis style. The lyric, it's a message about male ego as a teenager and beyond, makes one blind to the girl's qualities and creates a false expectation that she can enable you to mature and discard your self-centered waywardness. So to 12 now, Sweet Pear, a very Beatles type intro into this pop ballad. It's very commanding with some full horns. There's a classic guitar solo which I love mid-through. It's about another love lost due to a weakness. And then to the song written by his wife, Kate O'Regan, Broken. It's a devastating tale of losing that special love. Very mood-driven sound, no rhythm really, sombre, led by Elvis's vocals, and the strings at the back give it a sort of church-like feel. And then we move on to the finale. Couldn't call it Unexpected number 4. Got a very jazz feel, New Orleans style here. Impassioned vocals by Elvis. It's almost Wake-like. I think the lyrics about a noble, an aristocrat passing, and the aftermath for the children, the will, the passing of possessions to those given, and maybe to those who get nothing. So what have we got here? Well, we've got an exceptional piece of work. But that doesn't come as a real surprise to Costello's work through the 80s into the 90s. This is the period that I'm very familiar with, and I must admit I played this album a lot, and I still do. If you're not a great fan of Elvis Costello, then surely it's about time to take another look at this absolutely tremendous singer-songwriter, who for me is up almost in the same elite group as John Lennon and Paul McCartney. He's certainly right behind them anyway. So that's my review of Mighty Like a Rose from 1991. As I said, there will be some slides on the lyric sheets going throughout this, and I'd really welcome interpretations on the songs, because obviously my interpretation ain't necessarily the correct one. We have got a feel from Elvis Costello's views on a number of tracks, which helps, but usually it's down to yourself to interpret them the way you wish, and that's the best way as I see it. So that's my lot. Mighty Like a Rose, Elvis Costello, 1991 music review.